Sup guys, so today we're going to be talking about perspective on people. And so when you're going about life, you have all kinds of different people, of course, and you have your own perspective on people. Now, the key thing is do not have certain views of people, like pedestalizing people, like just because they're a celebrity, a business owner, everything. Don't just pedestalize people because they have a status, because if you do that, then I feel like a lot of people I see do this. They're like fine around normal people, in a sense, normal people, but as soon as they find out somebody has status or some kind of job, or they're an athlete or whatever that's popular, they start acting different, and it's like, that's kind of weird, because at the end of the day, everybody's a normal person. They just might have a certain status in the world. I mean, obviously, if you meet somebody who has achieved a lot, that's kind of like you're very impressed. And I'm not saying if I met somebody who's like very accomplished, I wouldn't be impressed or curious about the person. But I feel like people change the way they behave with those people, instead of treating them like just like everybody else, in a sense, like as if normal people, because that is what they are at their core. Like nobody's different inherently. Like we're all normal people. We all have the same functions. Everybody's the same in a sense. So why pedestalize certain people? At the end of the day, it's kind of like if you pedestalize somebody in a relationship, that's going to be one-sided, and then the other person is going to like the other one more than the other one. So it's like you're putting somebody higher above you, basically, as a person, like you matter less, basically. That's what you're doing. So it kind of seems a bit weird to me to do something like that. And a lot of people do it because you're basically putting yourself down, as in like you don't really matter as much as that person matters because of a certain status they have or a job or whatever. Now, to an extent, I do believe in the fact that I think there are technically like better people in the world. Like I might be a better person than somebody who's not like doing the right habits or trying as hard or trying to be better. Like in all technicalities, I would probably be a better person, as in like I might have a better personality, I might be better looking, I might be have more wealth or status, like things like that. In some context, I am technically like in hierarchical terms like better. Like if you think about hierarchy, technically I would be like above. Like people would perceive me as higher value than somebody who's not doing all those good habits and doesn't have any wealth or status, isn't very good looking, doesn't take care of themselves. Then yes, they would be like viewed lower. Obviously, there's a lot of things you can do to improve yourself in terms of like how people perceive you. But I think what I'm trying to get at here is don't pedestalize people just because of a certain status of a job or whatever. That's completely different from like just improving yourself and just being the best version of yourself, and having people perceive you as in like just like better, like you're attractive, you have certain things, whatever. Now with status, I feel like status is kind of it changes the perspective in a huge way compared to like just changing your looks and stuff. That does change the perspective a lot as well, but I feel like status makes people go crazy because it's like status is like something like you have this people have this image of you, a fantasy of you, where they think about like how you have an athlete. They have this image of like, oh my god, this guy is really good at playing basketball or whatever, and then they're like pedestalizing him and he's like this and that, and they have these images in their head, and they attribute certain things to that person, and they kind of like pedestalize their success and everything and assume that they're just like a better person almost, and they start acting different because they're kind of like fangirling over that person, and it's kind of weird. Like if I had a lot of subscribers and I had like a big fan base or whatever, or a follower base, whatever you want to say, I wouldn't really want people to just like pedestalize me or like agree with everything I say, because that's kind of boring if nobody's like challenging my ideas or giving any critique. I actually like one thing about my channel that I've had in a way is like people usually like actually give me some like useful comments on like a lot of like fitness videos, as well as like just giving useful comments and thoughts for me. And I think that's very nice, because sometimes obviously it can come off a bit like, you know, like you're a Jimmy bookworm or whatever. But you know, like I like when people give me like critique or stuff, because that kind of helps me improve. It might hurt my ego a little bit if I have an ego about it, but I usually try to take everything without an ego, so I don't like be egotistical about anything. So that gives me a better perspective on the people that are commenting. And obviously I don't really approve of like just like being hateful towards people for no reason. That's really pointless. You're not really getting anything useful done. You probably just hate your own life at that point. But yeah, that would be my idea of like, just try to normalize people with status, and I don't pedestalize people, because you need to believe in your own beliefs, create your own beliefs and values and everything, and then go with that. So I feel like there's some kind of like a subconscious almost thing related to pedestalizing people, and like it's something that comes subconsciously. People don't really think about it. They just see like, oh, shiny, you know, or it's like status. It's kind of like seeing shiny things, you know. You're just kind of like, wow, you know. It's that wow effect where it's like you stop thinking. I think you can kind of elevate yourself though to a point, depending on the person, where you can think about life in a different way, and you kind of like activate this certain thinking where like you don't just see like, oh, shiny. Like you might see the shiny, you might be like, your human primal brain might be like, oh, shiny, you know, oh, this person is popular, famous, that's a famous person, shiny, you know. Or like seeing like blonde hair might be like, oh, it's super shiny or whatever, you know. We like shiny things, right? It attracts our attention. So it's kind of the same thing with people of fame. When you see it, you're like, wow. But you can kind of train your brain to be like, yes, you'll still kind of feel the wow effect, but you can kind of think straight, and you're not like over pedestalizing or thinking too much about it. Like you can kind of like rationalize and calm down and like think about things rationally, and not over pedestalize people when you don't need to. And that's something I would just say is the key message of this video. It's just kind of, over time, notice your behavior and try to train yourself to not think about it so much, and try to kind of get down to a rational thinking level and be like, okay, that's a normal person, you know, they might be famous and they might have done certain things, but it doesn't inherently mean they're better than you or something like that. At the end of the day, a lot of famous people wouldn't be the people they are without other people around them. So at the end of the day, think about that, and think about the way you're viewing yourself and how you could change that, as I mentioned in this video. And I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If there's a will, there's a way.